I can't wait for it to actually come on HBO so I can watch it again in my house. Cause I can't pull no punches on this one. It's been too long. I actually like this movie way too much. Make some noise! I only got to see the Batman. I will say this to the chat. I know you guys can't hear the homies, but it goes both ways. I actually only got to see it one time, but the movie stuck out so much. Like, it was literally one of those things where I was like in photographic memory mode. Like, damn, it's so good. The cinematography was so good. That I really enjoyed it. I can't wait for it to actually come on HBO so I can watch it again in my house. Cause I can't pull no punches on this one. It's been too long. I actually like this movie way too much. Just to talk about it, man, we had Robert Pattinson playing, Batman as well as Bruce Wayne, Zoe Kravitz in there playing Selena Kyle. Jeffrey Wright in there as Commissioner Gordon, Paul Dano as the Riddler, Andy Serkis as Alfred, Barry Keoghan as unseen person. Lots of very strong actors in this movie for the Batman. Directed by Matt Reeves. It is called The Batman, just to be clear. I was really excited. Not at first when I heard the casting, but once I saw the vision, the noir vision of Matt Reeves, all the way up into that trailer, I was kind of looking forward to it. I know a lot of people was hype about this movie because they saw what Christopher Nolan did, and I feel like we're gonna go down this alley where we have to talk about the Christopher Nolan films even slightly. We have to, right? Because I feel like a lot of people went into this movie expecting to see like this kind of continuation, this kind of same feel that we got from those films or any Batman film before it. But I really feel like it was a rude awakening, and I still feel like going into this and coming out of this and talking about it right now, I've had plenty of time to mull this over. Batman is still one of the go-to movie superheroes that everybody knows. It's one of the reasons the DC owns, I feel like, some of the most famous and world-known characters. Batman, Superman. Batman is one of those characters. Guys, and I want to start with Tech. Tech, can you tell me your thoughts on the Batman?
If someone said this is the best Batman movie they've seen, I wouldn't argue with them. And if I take away my nostalgia, right? Like 89 Keaton was the first Batman movie I've seen. It was the first movie I went to as a kid. If I take that nostalgia away from it, I will say without a shadow of a doubt that this is the best cinematic version of Batman that we've seen. Facts. And I can stand by that.
That's facts.
Yeah.
That's facts.
Yeah. It was really good.
Hey, look.
Yeah, Keaton is real Batman.
Don't get me wrong. Yeah. Same. Yeah. Talk your shit, man.
Keaton is as real Batman as it gets. It's silly where it needs to be. It's serious where it needs to be. Mm-hmm. It's dark. It's stoic. It's gothic. Batman Returns gets a little silly with the rocket penguins and all that shit. The third act is a mess. Plus, Batman's shoving TNT down people's pants and stuff. And he plays that record scratch with the CD. Let's not even go there. Anyway, so the second one's fucking silly, but the first one's pure Batman. It's great. Yeah. It's phenomenal. Yeah. It's almost a flawless movie, to be honest. But it's 2022 now.
Yeah.
Yes.
We live in dark time. We live in dark time. We have 20 and 30-year-olds who've lived through recessions, depressions, and war their entire life. This is the Batman you get.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. This is what you get. You get dark, moody, anemic, scary, depressed Batman. This is a product of its generation. And Matt Reeves, I don't know how old Matt Reeves is, but that's his movie.
Bro, and, Matt Reeves loves the Batman, bro. He loves Batman, not the Batman. He loves Batman. I'm sorry, I ain't mean to get in there and cut you off. Go on, Ben. Finish your shit.
It's all good. But no, I didn't want to steal the spotlight because I'm just want to compliment what Tech said. It's exactly that. There's nothing wrong with the first Keaton movie. It's great. It's phenomenal.
No.
But this is where we're at now.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm of both generations. I'm 42, and Tech's right behind me. So I love both. But like this is my new upper echelon.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah, this is the new bar for me for Batman. Like, and it actually it devalues the other Batmen. Right?
Yes.
Like it makes them a little more worse,
bro.
Like, even Christian Bale's Batman now looks bad to me.
Listen. When I tell you Look, and I'm at the other end of this, right? I'll be 38 this year. Michael Keaton is my Batman, 100% my Batman. But exactly what Ben said, it is 2002. 22 two it's 2022. Superhero films are not this, like you said, Batman Returns was kind of, I felt like, the last Batman movie before we got to Nolan's Batman that really wasn't more like the played up Adam West kind of Batman, because that's what I saw, and I felt like that's why I still enjoyed those films, right? I felt like we have the zany kind of cartoony Batman from the Adam West days, right? Like, and I felt like that's when we talk about these other Batmans. You talk about the Val Kilmers, who played a very much so kind of that Adam West feel. George Clooney, in Just the Same, kind of felt more of a Adam Westy Bruce Wayne than a super serious take Bruce Wayne. And I'm only able to kind of put that on scale now because of Robert Pattinson's Batman. So if and once again, once we get to the Nolan Batman films, like, I felt like and this is when it goes down the path. This is when it goes down the path for me. I love what Nolan did, and I still feel like, I gotta preface this, I love what Nolan did with Batman, and I honestly still feel like The Dark Knight is one of the greatest superhero films ever. But when we look at Batman films as a whole, in the context of Batman and the character, and playing back to this homage as a comic book character, this is, like Tech said, I 100% agree, the quintessential Batman film for me now. There is no going back. And when I say that I love The Dark Knight, and I'm still on the fence of being okay with Batman Begins, but The Dark Knight Rises, I was literally, the more I think about that movie, the more I dislike that movie. And there are things I can 100% point out that I was not okay with, right? But when we talk about just the Batman as its own film, and this is what I wanted to get into, the Batman as its own film, the way that Matt Reeves built up Gotham City. I feel like Gotham City itself, which one of the things that's done so well in comic books, is its own organic, like, it's a living place, right? Like, it was terrifying. It was meant to be that. And you can tell Matt Reeves understands the world of Batman, right? And with that being said, man, what were some of your favorite things from, like, the Batman specifically? Not things that they kind of redid, but specifically from Matt Reeves' Batman. I want to start with you, Sketch. Like, how do I said Sketch? I ain't say Sawyer. Excuse me. How would you feel? How do you feel? What was one of your favorite things from the Batman of Matt Reeves' vision?
I just gotta get out of the way so we can gloat about all the great things about this movie. But when the Batmobile fucking wakes up,
one of the best things, bro. When I tell you, oh my God. The Batmobile reveal, yes. What a good call. What a good call.
I just got to get that out of the way. There's so much good in this movie, but, like, I think about that clip about every day. I keep searching YouTube for a leaked version of that scene so I can just watch it whenever I want. I want that shit to be my ringtone. Like, that Batmobile is incredible.
Bro, the Batmobile was introduced as its own character. It had its own dynamic view of shots. I was like, what the fuck? Yeah.
I like how Batman flinched the car too. Like, he flinched them because, like, obviously he didn't take off, but he used it to kind of punk him a little bit. After that noise came on, he was like, "Run!" Like, what are you gonna do? It was so hard.
Bro, dog, wait a minute.
Makes it lurch.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Dude, that scene, literally, if you go back, and the way, I gotta say, shout outs to my boy Kobe. He took me to some crazy ass thing. He's like, "Yo, Steve, it's about the sound." And bruh,
as well.
When the scene when the Batmobile came up, and fucking it literally, you hear the music, and it cuts out, and you hear the car. I was like, bro, what the like? What would make you think to actually integrate that into the fucking soundtrack, where it's literally, it dies, you just hear cars go, like, everybody's going like, get out of the way, and it cuts out, and it's. I was like, oh my God, Matt Reeves bringing, like, inanimate objects to life, and specifically, I like to say inanimate objects to life, the Batmobile, like the city of Gotham, and just how organic, like, it all played out. So I completely agree. Yo, Tech, what is one of your favorite things from the Batman?
I think my favorite thing is something that happens throughout the movie that no one, like, kind of, you really don't focus on it, but since this is the year 2 of Batman, and his inability to be the Batman the way we know him to be. Like, he always walked up because he wasn't good at flying or swooping down like he normally always is.
Yeah.
Like, those little nuances, when he got to the top of the building and he gasped because it was so high and he's never, like, he was going to do a base jump. You know what I'm saying? He got scared. You know what I'm saying? And then, like, even all the walk-ups, it just shows how new he is at this. And I thought that was so fucking dope. And then every time, like, he just lost the rage took over, fucking loved it. I love the subway scene where he just fucking beats the shit the first guy so effortlessly. You know what I'm saying? But he still had to walk up because he's still not that Batman yet. You know what I mean? Like, when he grappled near the end to get to the apartment that the Riddler was in, where he grappled up and he fell through the window. You know what I mean? And he had to gather himself and kick the door in. Like, all those little nuances of him not doing it well. Even the landing when he jumped off the
he hit the top
police
of
department.
He
wiped the fuck out.
He went under the bridge on top of the bus and literally like face planted into a car, like into the back window of a car. I know exactly what you're talking about.
So good. All that was so good. And like his newness to it, and that's why he's so devoted to it. Like, there is no time for Bruce Wayne for him. It's only the Batman, because he needs to get better at this. And the diary he was keeping, all of it was dope. And the narration was insane.
Oh my God, yes. So
Loved it.
So you literally went right into my favorite. This is one of my favorite things about Matt Reeves' Batman. The fact that it was centered and all focused on this year 2 Batman. We've read year 1 Batman. We know what the end goal of Batman looks like, thanks to like Zack Snyder, thanks to like these all crazy takes on it, right? He has the crazy gadgets and everything. And
what do you call it in his journal? The Gotham Project or something like that?
Yeah, he called it. Yeah, it's like the Gotham Project. And the way that it was kind of rolled into one and saying like, well, look, this is a Batman, this is a Bruce Wayne that you've never seen before. They give you glimpses of it, right? And the glimpse of the Batman that we saw here that Robert Pattinson was shown was every time his parents got killed, right? Every movie where his parents got killed, that was the only fraction of the Bruce Wayne that you saw Robert Pattinson play ever be on film. And the fact that they removed that instance out where they actually put a scene in there committed to his parents dying and making it more about his parents, it shifted the narrative over to Bruce Wayne and Batman. And that leads me to when he was actually narrating and you hear the Nirvana kick in. I saw somebody say it in the chat. I thought it would be the cheesiest shit in the world if they ever even tried it. But Matt Reeves' Batman followed like after that narration where he was like, they were afraid of me. Like, they thought I was the shadows. And literally they showed the shot of him just zooming into the shadow and the one guy looking over to the corner and then instantly they just take off running. I'm like, bro, that is the Batman from the comics that no other director has ever put on the screen. We got close. Don't get me wrong. We got close. And I'm one of those fans that can tell you a specific scene where we got close to it. There's a scene in Batman versus Superman when he goes into the fucking warehouse, right? And I know people like, yo, that warehouse, that shit was crazy. But there's a very specific shot that literally made me jump when I was watching that movie. It was when he came in through the window. He breaks the window. He says something to Alfred, and then he jumps through the window. But the shot is angled at his feet where he comes in. So the last thing that you see is the cowl in the upper corner, and then you see the rest of the cape, and the cape blots out the camera. And then they cut to the fucking warehouse, and then he busts through the window. That's the shit that I want in a Batman film.
I got.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, go ahead, Ben. Go on.
To me, it's the start of the movie when they're investigating like that. There's like the women that were being trafficked, right? So the cops show up on scene, and the women's like trying not. She doesn't want to leave the cage because he's still here, and the cops shine the flashlight to the top left.
Yes, and you see him up there
sitting in the corner.
He's in the
like
corner,
a fucking animal. God, yeah,
that was creepy.
Yeah, dude. So Snyder was close.
Snyder was close.
Here's something I wanted to say earlier.
Yeah, go ahead.
Here's what I want to say earlier. What makes this better than the other ones is because there's always been something wrong, right? Like with the Nolan trilogy. I think Dark Knight is what it is because of Heath Ledger, and that's it, right?
100%. When I say the only reason that movie is above this movie, and it's not by a lot. I'm telling you right now, it's not by a lot. It is not by a lot. The only reason it is there, like you said, Tech, is because of that performance by Heath Ledger. Go on,
Right.
continue.
That Nolan makes villain movies, man. Sorry.
Yeah. The only thing got close to having a strong Batman and a strong villain was 89, Keaton and Nicholson.
Yeah.
Because in the Nolan, you don't have that. You don't have that double-edged sword of great hero, great villain. But this in the Batman, you have not only that, but you have multiple of that. You have a great Robert Pattinson's greatest Batman. Like, he is flawless. We don't have to have the debate about who's the best Bruce Wayne, because he's not Bruce Wayne.
Oh, thank you for pointing that out, man.
Yeah, so we can't have that conversation. But Riddler, terrifying. Absolutely terrifying.
Bro,
his reveal.
It was 2 opening scenes, Ben. Exactly. Go ahead. That reveal, that felt like the intro.
In the dude's living room.
But like
that's incredible.
The thing is, like, both of the intros of the heroes is the same. The villain and the hero have the same intro, where Riddler is stalking the mayor, and then Batman stalking the crime. But it happens back to back because it's the duality of it. You know what I mean? Like, they are cut from the same cloth. Oh my
God! You know, that intro, I told people before they even saw the movie, I was like, there's 2 intro scenes. Because literally it was like they show the Riddler in that terrifying ass scene, and then it's like title, and then they show the Batman scene that Ben was talking about. And like the way that they introduced both of them are like, it was so fucking creepy for the Riddler to be that kind of character. And I know some people, like even Jim Carrey was like, yo man, I felt like that was too heavy-handed. And I'm like, I mean, look, yo Jim, I love you, but your kooky zany take on the Riddler was good for that time, because it was still, and like I said, that kind of Adam West parody in the like late 90s, you know, that's where it was. But this Batman...
That was also Jim Carrey's prime, so Jim Carrey had to be Jim Carrey. This was
well, yeah. I mean, he's a comedian. You know, he
Eternal Sunshine. This is pre. You know, what's the reality show one?
I heard
Truman Show.
It's pre-Truman Show, right? So this was Jim
even
Carrey.
Truman Show, he was goofy.
And even Truman Show, like it turned into that. Like that's what it turned into, right? Like, and I'm not taking anything away from like his performance, but I just feel like for that time, that's exactly what you expected. That's what you want. Like, I felt like, especially in comparison to Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face. But once again, that's not where we are, like you pointed out before. Like, we're not there where we're at, like this exaggerated Batman. We're in the very real take world Batman.
I'm not even sure, because I'm very aware of how I felt when the movies came out, those movies with Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey. I'm not even sure if I was there at that point, and I was way younger. Like, I felt like it was for people younger than me.
Yeah,
like, I feel like they made those movies for toddlers. You know what I'm saying? To sell toys. Like, I never felt the tone was even appropriate for the Batman of that time period. Because this is around the time that Batman gets his back broken in the comic books, and like Superman has died. Like, so like people who were in the comic books at that time period, they weren't looking for the tongue-in-cheek shit. That Adam West shit kind of died with the Adam West show.
Yeah, no. Hey, look, I agree. I definitely agree.
I feel like I have to point out something in the chat. We know somebody who has cosplayed as Bane probably 5 years.
Oh, the homie Nate. What's up with it, Nate? He in the chat right now.
What's up, Nate?
He's in the chat right now calling Nolan ass. That's how powerful this movie is.
Exactly, bro. Like that's
you don't have to agree.
No, you don't have to agree. It actually converted the boy.
You got to say this though, Christopher Nolan. If there's no Christopher Nolan movies, there's no The Batman.
No facts. 100% facts. 100%.
Nolan had to crawl so Reeves could run.
Yo, that's actually damn, and that's a very good point. That is a very, very, very good point. And I'm always one of the people that like to pay homage to the things that come before. I'm not like one of those people that like this character eclipses it. Like, I don't like to do that because there's always got to come one before the other. And I think that you're right. The sincerity of the Nolan films, right? Because as much as we love Nolan, as much as we love superhero films, Batman, even up until Nolan, was really kind of like just the Batman archetype. Like, his parents died, which characters are we gonna get? It definitely turned to kind of like the Madden aspect of what we were getting for Batman movies. Like, hey, look, how good are they gonna play the Joker? How good are they gonna play this? And they really stopped developing Batman as a character until this movie, because we'd never seen the emotional, the super emotional, moody, and he stayed the damaged Bruce Wayne. Like, the fact that he literally that kind of went into him being Batman. He was just like, hey man, I'm vengeance. All way up until the last instance of the movie where he no longer wanted to be vengeance because he saw what it did to the city. And like the whole dynamic of his Batman persona and his Bruce Wayne persona, not only playing into the good side of Gotham, him being a playboy, whatever the case, which we're not even there yet, it played into that negative side of it as well, even playing out like in the Batman character. So with that being said, I honestly, like, I feel like that's one of the reasons why this is the quintessential Batman movie now. Like, I feel like there's so many instances where you don't even get to see him. You get to see this beginning year 2 Batman. Like the fact that he wasn't using, like the smoke gas stuff, right? He wasn't using like the smoke bomb. But when he was hanging off in the final scene, right? When he was hanging off that big over, like the scoreboard
Jumbotron
thing, yeah.
Jumbotron, yeah.
And he saw like that it was like 5 dudes up there, right? And he had like I don't know what it was or like what he used, but he stabbed the fire extinguisher and it put gas, and then the gas bellowed all over like the next 5 dudes, right? But the camera kind of panned up and all you saw was the smoke, and you saw that one guy in the back and he gets tackled, and I'm like, my god,
the sound they played when he comes through the smoke was so perfect. Like a horror movie.
It was so fucking good. Like, that's when I was like, oh damn, like that's the kind of imagery that I want to see. And it was like something that you can only do, I feel like, in like a Batman. Like, that was such a Batman shot that it wasn't like, yo, it was Ninja Batman shot. It was like, hey, let's get images of this, but let's give it in a beginning like scenario. And that's why I felt like he played such a perfect Batman. Like, I felt like this Batman movie should have came out before every other Batman movie. Honestly, it can't happen, but if you think about the way that it tells the story, and like even talking about the characters like the Penguin, the main mob boss, like Zoe Kravitz, Catwoman, like all those characters, they owned every scene. I was like, damn, I feel for every one of these characters. So with that being said, I want to move it to the next part of this. Without Bruce Wayne being included, right, and Batman being included, and let's just remove the Riddler. What are some of the other characters that you guys felt like were very, very, very strong, that kind of even exceeded your expectations in the Batman? In chat, I want to ask yourselves this. I know we can't like get to all the questions, but kind of have this dialogue with yourselves as well within the chat, and kind of playing what we're saying. What characters do you think stood out the most from your watch of the Batman? Tech, I'm going back to you. Talk to me.
All right, this is going to be an unpopular opinion. I don't think anyone else will pick him, but I'm going to say Falcone. I don't ever. I've seen him in so much shit.
Yep.
And he's never been this it's assertive, or almost. He's always been kind of like the side character and shit. But like, he did such a fun job of just kind of portraying the character. Mm-hmm. It's either going to be him. I'll be honest with you, I didn't like Jeffrey Wright in this, but that's a whole different conversation. There's only one reason why, but I'll get into that later.
Okay.
But yeah, I would say Falcone. I liked Falcone a lot. He was very maniacal. Obviously he's not on the screen as much, but like for him to be in that role, for the actor John Turturro to be in that role, which is something that I would not have expected from him, he delivered. Right. He did not slump. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like he didn't sleep on the job. He understood the assignment and knocked it out. I thought he was a great mob boss too.
Oh hell yeah!
I think they had a sort of a time release on that too. Like he was just sort of a placeholder until you found out, spoiler, that he liked choking people to death. Then
dude, he tried to kill his daughter.
He tried to off his daughter, bro. And
he was like, "You made me do this. You're making me do this." What?
Bro, he hit her with the Anakin. You made me do this. I was like, "Oh, that's how you know they evil." The minute they say that line, I was like, "Damn, they're playing that part." Because if you drop the Star Wars, you made me do this. I'm like, yo, you were killing your daughter, and you're saying that. But yo, I agree with you 100%. Definitely stole a lot of the scenes in the movie for me. I felt like he put such a different weight to like the livelihood of Gotham. We've seen this character in Nolan's Batman before, and we've seen it like teased in other movies as well. But I felt like when you're looking at this character, he played such a vital role to showing you just how f***ed up Gotham was, like just how corrupt Gotham was, right? Like that was so good. It was so real. It was so real, bro. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's what villainy looks like. Someone in power with money fucking everyone over. That's what a villain is. That's what made it so realistic. And every time we've gotten that, it's been okay, but it's never been as strong as this, where he's like, okay, Falcone is the whole problem. You know what I mean?
Right, right. It was never just a singular issue where it was just like, hey man, you gotta fight, like take care of this one issue. And that was one of the things that this movie did better, that I feel like, than anything. Like I felt like every time you looked at even Nolan's Batman, it seemed like it was a pretty singular issue. It was like, hey, if you just take care of this one thing, then everything will be okay, is what it made it say. And then it's just at the end of the movie, it was like, I gotta continue to be Batman. And I'm like, I get it, but like in this movie, it really did set the table for a whole cascading issue of like being like, well, even if you deal with this, you know what I'm saying, this serial killer out there, you still got to worry about Falcone, right? And even if you're not worried about Falcone, you got to worry about characters like the Penguin, right? And then there's still just like there was so many things that really made it to where this, you know, the entire livelihood of the city was just, it was just like actually a cesspool. It felt like a really bad situation. And even the Riddler, you know what I'm saying, not, you know, to put him up there for the discussion, but like when the Riddler was like, man, it's so corrupt, like you guys don't even understand that it's corrupt. They did one of the things that is good when you make these villains now in superhero films, is you gave him a plausible narrative for why he was like, yo bro, give me this. And it's only plausible in the sense of him putting it out there in the movie, like, hey man, you have all these people in power, they're not telling you the truth, and I'm trying to tell you the truth. Having all these different narratives and then still having a Batman to deal with made it so much more easy to connect with, because it was so many things out of every character's control that they had to deal with. And I'm sorry that was a rant. Ben, what about you? What is one of the characters that stood out the most?
Well, I got something on my mind I wanted to bring up first, and then I want to put a question out. I don't have much to say about any other characters. I was just entranced the whole time. I fucking loved it. But I do like, this sort of goes on what you were just saying, because the way this set the table, this is doing what the comics have done, maybe not recently, but when DC rebooted itself, the New 52 with the Court of Owls and all that stuff, it put the Waynes at the center of the problem. Yeah. Actually, if anybody read White Knight by Sean Murphy, that did the same thing. It made the Waynes like the part of the problem ever since the founding of Gotham. So that's pretty badass too. And then, as we all know, of course, you know, if you watch shows like Gotham, where like it was like Muppet Babies and all the fucking villains grew up together, like that. Yeah. Because like
it was whack.
We all know that Batman makes the villains. And now this table's set in which that the freaks of Gotham have to match his intensity, right? So maybe I shouldn't have said freaks, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah,
like the super villains now are going to escalate because we have a superhero, and they're going to probably follow Riddler's, you know, dark web connection, and so anyway,
man, that was so good. That was so well played.
So I like seeing where this is going, because this is kind of where the comics went for me and what I liked, and I can't help but think that the filmmakers probably knew that. So I don't know, Jeffrey Wright, cool, he acted his ass off, he did a great job. I know what Tech's gonna say, and I don't want to spoil it, so Tech, I'll let you have it, but I do want to posit, or at least propose, what you guys thought of Alfred, because I don't know.
I'll be right back, guys. I gotta use the bathroom.
Go ahead.
Sure.
So, I think when it comes to Alfred, that it's a really weird thing, because I feel like it's not many times that we've actually had a bad Alfred. That's the issue. There's really no bad Alfred. But I feel like Andy Serkis specifically, I feel like he's good at playing that like mentor, like slightly, you know, brazen, a little bit, you know, tenderized, like mentor figure. And he does it very well in a servitude kind of way in this film, right? Where he's just like, look, I know I work for you, but I'm still the guy that like cares for you, right? And I didn't think we were going to be able to see certain things play out the same way. Like, I didn't think they were going to give us an in danger, you know, Alfred. I didn't think they were going to give us that Alfred. I thought they were going to give us the complete, like, hey, I'm trying to save you, Alfred. But this is this Alfred enabled him a little bit, right? Like, that's what I like about it. He's like, hey, man.
No, you're absolutely right. This was a big buff former SAS Secret Services. Let's do this shit.
He was not like the shy, taken away Alfred, but he understood. Like every other Alfred, hey man, I'm trying to save you. But like there was a scene there was a scene, one of the more powerful scenes for me, which let me know how serious of a take that, you know, they were going. He says that, he says, you have to be careful, Master Wayne. There might not be any of you left, right? Like, and just the way that he said it, right? It wasn't a like, hey man, you need to stop doing this shit. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't a, hey man, you need to stop while you're ahead. This is like a, hey, I get it, I'm here for you, but you might want to pull it back a little bit. And even the rest of that scene where he says, like, he cuts him off, like Patterson cuts him off and he says, I don't care what happens to me. And even the shot of him being with his shoulder to him, like not even like giving him, he was like, I don't care what happens to me. And I said, oh, damn, for real? Like, he says, yo, Phase Maniac, thank you. Says, it won't be long before you have nothing left, you know? And he's like, I don't care what happens to me. Like, that is the kind of Alfred that I really that's what I like to see anyway. I want him to have, which is done pretty well. I feel like it's not a lot of movies that do this, that give you these battling narratives all through the characters all around him. And I felt like it made sense for him to have this kind of Alfred around him, not this timid Alfred, you know what I'm saying? Not this completely criminally, endorsing Alfred, but just have somebody there that's in that middle ground that kind of understands what he's going through and be like, hey man, and he even said it in the film because some people didn't pay attention to it. He was like, hey man, I didn't teach you how to fight to do this, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's a voice of reason still. He's not this completely enabling, I'm rolling over for the belly to make sure you're a cool guy. He's giving him this piece of knowledge as well as giving him the instance, like the double take scenario. He's not completely leaning into this argument that he should 100% be Batman or that he shouldn't.
And I like what Stun Gun 47 said in the chat. It seemed like Alfred and Bruce aren't as close yet. Of course, he's important to Bruce, but they didn't seem tight. And I like that they weren't. I like that at one point he's like, you're not my fucking dad, bro. Like, fall back.
Yeah, bro. Yes.
But then you can see the evolution of the relationship once the realization that he got him hurt. And he didn't realize, like, the nurse was like, is there anyone else we can call? And he's like, I'm the only family he has. Yeah. And I enjoyed that growth because it's a very small detail that most people probably didn't even trip off of, but like, those two, like the evolution of that is kind of what, like, he's still so young in the Batman that he don't really look at Alfred as a family yet.
He ain't even looking at collateral damage. He was like, it was legit, that scene, like you said, that's when he was like, oh, you know?
I'm like, oh shit, this, like, he may be the only person I got, I'm the only person he got, like, it's the only person that we got together. Like, it's pretty deep. It's a very, like, family deep connection that they developed, like, low key during the movie.
And once again, we don't see that. We always get in game Alfred, you know what I'm saying? My man is 72 years old on his way out the door, you know what I'm saying? But like, this Alfred is involved. Like, he's like, yo bro, I ain't teach you how to fight for this, you know what I'm saying? Like, just the way that they kind of, incorporated him, it's like all these pieces to make up Batman. Like, it's not just, I did this thing completely solo. It's not like this thing where he did take a lot up onto himself, especially with what he was going through. But like, it's not it's not as self-absorbed as it's even led him to believe. And I felt like that movie taught me that. It's like especially in a cinematic narrative. And it's like what Ben said, like, that's the kind of Batman you're looking for. Batman is an all-involved character. Like, I know a lot of people have been watching these movies and they just think that, like, Batman was always trained by ninjas and that there's nothing else in between that is always going to be there. But there's a lot of different stories that they've told to build these different connections and to tell these different narratives and different stories. And I felt like as well as, having an adaptation go, like I said, and I go back to it, this is the best cinematic representation of Batman ever. Like, I felt like this movie should have came out before all other Batman movies. Before Batman 89, this movie, I wish, like, canonically should have been there,
So there's a discussion in the chat about did the Riddler know if Bruce Wayne was Batman? And I kind of feel the confusion on it too, because I'm not quite sure.
Dude, the way he says Bruce Wayne in the jail cell, he goes like
Bruce Wayne, right? Yeah. No.
Was that connection made though? Like, is that the connection that's made, or was he just trying to fuck with him? Like, because you saw Batman look at the camera, but then nothing comes of his identity being revealed.
Yeah.
I don't
on a grander scale. So I was confused by that as well as some of the people in the chat.
So legit says Patterson acted so well. Oh my! Look, so this is one of the things that I would like to
Dude,
point
Mark
out.
staring people down, didn't he?
Bro. So and this is just to go back because I felt kind of stupid. I saw like this interview where Robert Pattinson was like, "Yo, I don't need to be buff to be Batman," and I got pissed. That motherfucker got me triggered instantly. I'm like, man, hold the fuck up. You gotta be. And then I saw the movie and I'm like, damn, he really doesn't be. And he really doesn't need to be. He really doesn't need to be. But the way that he intimidated people, starting with the monologue, him walking around, the way he walked up to people, like when he walked up to the thugs on the balcony, he came out of the shadows and he walked right up to him, like you said, it wasn't no like shying away or anything like that. And even just going back to the whole Batman Bruce Wayne thing, I think that it's intentional. I think that when the Riddler does that, like, we know that in one of the things that Bruce finds out, and it's done so well with the narrative of how you find out and how Bruce Wayne finds out, that like he's kind of figuring this whole mystery out with the clues together with Commissioner Gordon, right? But he didn't see to the last instance that it was actually leading to him, right? So once he saw that it was leading to him, he was like, oh, I can go right to him. But once he went right to him, he literally says, I think that he phrases it in a question to say, like, you are trying to either save Bruce Wayne or are you Bruce Wayne? And I think the play is that. I think that Paul Dano as well as Robert Pattinson acted it to give him, like, the back and forth, like, waiting for him to say something. I think Paul Dano played off of that and was like, well, he was like, Bruce Wayne. And he goes for the and he's like, Wayne. He's like, so I was going for him. Did you save him? Why are you here? Like, I think, and to me, I think that's part of the ambiguity of it. I think it was an ambiguous cross-up that nobody could block until otherwise. I would love to, like, and this, I love having these conversations, guys, because it's awakened in me what I really want to do outside of anything else. I want to talk to some of these actors about this because I would love to know his narrative, his thought process behind that one scene, that Bruce Wayne.
I think it's the Patterson look at the camera that made me think that, like, oh, someone can see that he's calling me Bruce Wayne. Like, that's what that confused me on that moment, was just the way he looked at the camera. It's very fast, but he definitely was worried that someone can see that he's Bruce Wayne. You know what I'm saying? Like, he kind of looked like his identity was revealed.
But I want to say, remember in the movie where he was figuring this out, wasn't Commissioner Gordon there, or was he there with Alfred? Because I thought it was Commissioner Gordon.
Say it again?
No, I think it was Alfred. So I think, remember when he figured out, who was in the room with him? Because I've only seen it once, and this is one of the things that's blurry for me. When he figured out who he was going after.
Oh, it was he was with the officer. What is his name? I want to say Martinez, but I could be completely wrong.
Oh, but he was with a police officer, right?
Yeah, he was with the guy who didn't like him at first, that ended up liking him, that everyone was kind of worried something bad was going to happen because he was such a nice guy. I think it's Martinez.
Yeah, so somebody in the chat, they confirmed that it's Martinez, right? So the fact that, like, we were there when Bruce Wayne or the Batman figured out that his next target was going to be Bruce Wayne, right? Like, when he figured that out, I felt like that was the reveal moment for us too, as well as for, like, Bruce Wayne. So him going to, like, tackle it head on wasn't the fact that he knew, like, he was leading him to believe that he knew. It was more about the fact that he was like, oh shit, I actually figured it out. Just like he figured out the whole, the rat with wings, it's actually blah blah blah. I felt like that was like another curveball. But once again, I felt like that's a whole part of it. I felt like a part of that scene was the ambiguity of it. Does he know? Is Bruce Wayne freaking out? Like, is the Riddler so far ahead of the game that he already knows who Batman is, you know?
Yeah, I think I just misspoke. I think it actually was Gordon, because they were in the mansion the abandoned orphan mansion when he realized that his next target was Bruce Wayne. Okay. So it was Gordon, and they were looking at the projector screen of the speech.
Yeah. Okay.
Thomas Wayne speech.
Okay. So, like, that's why I felt like if it was something where he revealed it otherwise, yes, but that's why I think he didn't know, because I don't think he would have reacted the same had he found out that it was Bruce, that he was going after Bruce. If Bruce Wayne found out he was actually coming after him, I don't think he would have reacted the same way if he had found out with Alfred, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what happened, because he sent the bomb to his house, right? So he don't even know, you know? So but oh god, see, now I'm thinking about that scene again. But yeah, either way, no, just scenes like that, those scenes, I felt like every scene, and there's so many scenes in this movie. Shout outs to the cinematographer that have so much character that deal such a like a heavy blow to setting up like the scenes in the Batman that like it's so masterfully made. Like I don't even know what's wrong with it.
That were. I'm anxious to see it at home on a 60.
Exactly.
Like, on the 100-foot screen or whatever. There's so much that was out of focus that you felt like you were in a daze so much of the movie because the movie was just slowly revealing aspects. They used focal length quite a bit. I'm gonna look up who the cinematographer was because I think it's somebody important.
It's the same cinematographer from Dune. It's the same person who did Dune.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
If I am right about that, right? I'm not tripping. Okay, yeah. So it's the same person who did Dune.
Yeah, Rogue One, Zero Dark 30.
If you think about that, because of the Batman, remember when he was walking down the hallway?
Mando.
When he was walking down the hallway and he was getting shot and he was just shaking off the bullets. That always makes me remember the Rogue One because of the Darth Vader scene.
Yeah. He did a couple episodes of the Mandalorian.
Excellent.
Yeah, he's cool with it.
I do have to call attention to the fact that the Riddler won.
The Riddler won. Yeah, this was, and that's such a good point. That's such a good point.
Batman did not, as much as we love this movie because there was a lot of that detective shit in there. It didn't help.
It didn't.
He didn't figure it out in
This
time.
movie didn't end on a high
murder weapon
point.
shit though, like that carpet murder weapon was like the biggest clue. I would never have seen that coming.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you even put that one together?
I don't even. The thing is that I love that the marketing when they started like talking about this was played up to like, yo, there's actually gonna be riddles, right? And the way that Matt Reeves literally made it so like I'm in the audience, I'm still saying like I'm trying to figure out this stuff too to see who he's pointing at, and I know, you know what I'm saying, and I'm already aware of who the big players are, and it's still one of those things of who is Batman actually looking at, right? Like, so even with all my knowledge, which is one of the best things that happen to me in superhero films, is the fact that like I'm still in there guessing. Like that to me is like indicative of just how good of a film that I'm watching.
That's the core component for a whodunit, right? You need to not know what's happening. Yeah, and that's one of the biggest missteps of any movie is that like if the audience knows but the actors don't, like that you fucked up as a filmmaker, I think.
Yo, Eric the Viking, shout out to Officer Sanchez for knowing it was a carpet tool, right? Right? He wouldn't even, Bruce Wayne didn't even. He was like, what are you talking about? He's like, yeah, man, it's a, you know. Oh man, but no, this is like there's so many ridiculous scenes in this movie. Like the whole church scene, the scene where he sent Selena Kyle in to identify people using the contact lens. That scene, like I don't even know why I never thought about that, but that was some Batman Arkham Knight shit that I was like, oh, that is so sick. Like the fact that and we also, one of the things we kind of looked over is how modern this Batman film is. This might be one of the most modern, realistic takes on Batman, them using cell phones, the way they incorporated technology in general. I mean, the whole high-tech eye contact lens thing, that shit was crazy, and I felt like it was 100% in play.
Also, yes, but also it does this cool retro gothic punk sort of amalgamation with all the technology. Like when he was standing in the window across the street, he had that full array of computer equipment in the window, and it was all held together with like bolts and wires and looked like a mess. So like it wasn't just a cell phone, it wasn't just a contact lens. It was that weird, crazy slapped together tech that maybe you only see in the comics, but you don't ever see in the movie. You always get this big glorious bat computer that's all you know, but I don't know, it felt, this is a really strange, very almost obscure comparison, but there's an episode in the Animatrix. The one done by Shinichiro Watanabe, the guy behind Cowboy Bebop, where it was black and white, it was very noir, and all the technology was like rotary phones and typewriters, which is the Matrix thing. Like all the Matrix tech was kind of grimy and crunchy looking. So that's kind of what this movie had going for it, like on a design standpoint, like the Batmobile, right? I mean, that Batmobile was made for gearheads. Like, it wasn't a big, glorious Batwing Batmobile with big wings hanging off.
That was a muscle car, bro. That was roaring.
Yeah, so all the technology in this movie was not exactly realistic, because what the hell kind of car was that? It glowed, for God's sake, right? But like everything was so dirty and held together, and yeah, just I'm not finding the right words, but y'all get it.
No, I
But
completely
yeah,
get it. Phase.
technology was really crazy cool.
So Phase Maniac says, and I think this is a good way to put it, Ben. He says it was a good mix of retro neon type vibe and modern technology. Of course, it definitely has that, that kind of futuristic. It's right there, that futuristic kind of right there before, Batman Arkham Knight technology, but it still has that, we're putting this together with duct tape and wires. It still had that, makeshift, we can't afford this feel for some of the technology that they were using, and it gave it a very like organic, like, hey yo, I did this shit myself vibe, which is very indicative of like not only Batman but the villains that this guy deals with. And it was so many kind of subliminals, and it was so many subliminals that led to not only just the realistic noir, Gotham-esque take on it, but just even setting the stage for another movie. I will say personally, I feel like without giving any direct ties, this movie might have set up one of the best universes that I have ever seen. Not only just in the DC, or not only just for Batman, but literally that I've ever seen. Like every part of this, and it goes back to what you said, Tech. Like there was no win in this situation. Like this, literally, you found out too late. The Riddler bombed the city. Half of it's flooded. So many people died. The Riddler has people following him to the point where they're mimicking him, and a bunch of people still don't trust him. Like to me, like I said, like I'm interested in the sequel, and they haven't even officially announced it yet. Like I walked out of that film and I was like, damn, like I felt like that was only half the story. Like it had so much tied into it, man. And it all started for me, like I can't say this like confidently, like I felt like after they did like the intro, we heard the Nirvana, we saw the two scenes, and Batman walked into that room, the first scene where they show him, and he had to walk past all the police officers, and they were like, what the fuck? Like, I can't believe you letting this guy in here. Like, how many times have we gotten like that played up that well to like this degree? The fact that he was this big fucking recluse Batman, and he played into this creepy vibe in such a noir fantastic way that people were legit afraid of him, right? Where he even compared it to being in the shadows. I don't know, man. Like there is nothing that I felt like that was missing from this film. There was nothing that I felt like was missing from this film. I'm in love with the film, and I don't want to keep you guys too much longer, but if there's any other thing you would like to add, now's the time, one. And two, let's start getting some of our last wrap-up thoughts here. And the last thing I want to ask you guys, what was the worst thing about this movie? Because I feel like we can't come in here blind. We can't, look, you know how much I love you guys, but we got to be real here, What was the worst? I have a thing. I definitely have a thing that I've been thinking about the entire fucking time. And chat, I would love to know as well. What was the worst thing about Matt Reeves, the Batman? Ben, this goes for you too. I want to start with Ben, actually. Ben, what was the worst thing about this sham of a movie? This fake Batman movie that will never compare to Christopher Nolan. Let me stop.
I don't know. I will say, okay, I only have one thing because I've only seen it once. Tech's seen it 3 times. And like I said, I know what Tech's going for, so I'm curious to see what everybody says about that. But, okay, so one point divided into 2. One, nobody shoots Batman in the mouth, so, but whatever, right? Put a full helmet on, for God's sake. Anyway, that's just Batman. You guys see that meme that's like, why does he not wear a face mask? So the cops
he's white guy, bro. They gonna think twice. They gonna think twice. You know what I'm saying?
But then at the end, he takes that shotgun, the double-barreled shotgun, like right to the chest.
And he had to hold that shit. Oh yeah, what do you guys think that was? While we're there, what do you guys think that was?
That was V.
You think that was Venom?
Yeah, he put Venom on. That's why he raged out. So I don't know what kind of armor that is to hold up to a shotgun that close. But anyway, that's the only thing that made me go, huh. But I love the rest of it. So I don't have much to say in negatively. I'm sorry. I wish I could play along.
No. It's cool. But I will say to your point, right? I guess it was the producer and I think like the set designers or something. They were talking about like his armor in this movie specifically. They say he's not invincible. It's literally like a quote. It says like he's not invincible. He just has a like armor on in between it, right? So he could still be hurt. The fact that like he was taking shots. The thing about it was like a lot of times when we see bulletproof Batman, it's like it just some kind of weird ass deflecting, or it's like he's literally just got armor on, right? But he was still affected by every shot. Like he was like even when he walked down that hallway and he was still recoiling. Like, if some shit went off too close to him, he was like, oh, shit, that actually, has enough force to push me back. And like you said, the fact that he took that shotgun blast to the chest, you know what I'm saying? Like, that shit all kind of, like, added up to me. But either way.
He did seem a bit invulnerable. But
yeah, exactly.
There's a couple of times where he thought he was going to die.
Oh,
and
hell yeah.
Hell
yeah. Bro,
because that shotgun to his face, if it wasn't for Catwoman, he was like, all right, I guess this is it. Guess it's a wrap for your boy.
Dog.
And so that's a part of Batman we haven't seen, the acceptance. He even told Gordon like this might be it for me.
Yeah.
Like there's twice that he's accepted death, and that's kind of dope.
Damn, like that's 100% true. Like he legit when he cut the last scene where he was like, well, he's like he already knew that he was like shockproof, but that wasn't the worst. But like just the fact that like multiple times, man, you're right, in this movie he put his life on the line. Like it was, and like we don't know what. Like in all honesty, like it's one of those things where he could have saved all those people, locked these guys up, because obviously he already has the Joker in jail, which we're gonna talk about that later. Like there's a big payout here of 2 years of Batman that could have ended right here in this movie, and I'm thinking that it very possibly could have. So that's a very good point, man. That's a very good point. So I'm gonna take. So that was your take. The worst part of the movie.
No, my worst part is one thing, and Ben already knows what it is because I've been very vocal about why I hate this. Jeffrey Wright's Commissioner Gordon's voice, the entire movie, was literally a mirror of Batman's voice, and it was the most annoying fucking thing in the world. Why are you talking like this? Like what is like?
I know exactly. I can't believe it.
Whole time.
That was the play to the noir. That was the play to the noir. No, I thought that was.
He probably wanted to be a little Batman,
right? Maybe he was jealous. He's like, damn, this guy's voice is cool. Maybe he wanted to do that.
Man, it made scenes for me. It took me out of the scenes a couple times. I mean, the movie is a 9 out of 10. Like it's damn near perfect.
Yeah. Okay.
If I have to nitpick, I'm gonna say that every time Batman says something, his voice matched in. And I don't know either what we're gonna do. Is it a penguin? Is it a bat? Like, come on, what are we doing, Jeffrey? Right? Like I know his voice so well, and I know that he has such range that he can do any fucking voice he wants to. So I don't understand why he settled on something as raspy as Batman.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I didn't even think about that until you said it. But like, soon as you said it, I was like, oh damn, he's actually right.
Yeah, because you know him. Jeffrey Wright can do any voice
he definitely can do any voice. He's cold.
He's absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
You know,
Face Maniac says the Catwoman Batman romance was pointless out of nowhere. I don't think that's.
I feel that though. I agree.
I disagree. I
agree. The kiss felt forced.
No.
When it happened.
No. I don't think so.
I thought it felt purposely forced, purposely unnatural.
I don't think they were going for that though. I could see if you were going to go for like a manipulation type thing, but
that's the point.
She generally wanted him to go with her at the end, and she was generally looked very upset that she realized that he belongs to Gotham. He's spoken for, so I think the romance was supposed to be there, but I just don't feel like it built up enough for me to care about it.
Oh, okay.
And besides, the year after we come through with the mask and everything, like ain't nobody finna just fall in love with somebody you only see half their face.
I mean, you're right. You're not. Maybe you weren't supposed to care about it, Tech, because he didn't care about it either.
Right. That's what. For real, he did. Look, I think that it was the attraction was there, but like sure. Bruce Wayne, the character, and Batman, the character, knew they couldn't do anything, right? And I think it's a multitude of things, right? It's the thrill of it all, right? And I always felt like a part of that attraction between them two. I mean, obviously, I don't know. I'm not a fucking writer. But a part of the attraction between the two was the thrill. The fact that your life is always on the line. And I felt like that was part of the play up. And it played out very well, especially in a noir superhero film, right? It's no different. And I could be reaching here, and you guys can definitely check me, right? You know how like they used to have these old detective movies where the lady would go and talk to him and be like, hey, I need you to go find out who killed my husband. You know?
Yeah.
It was one of those in a superhero aspect side. And I think that they still played to the ambiguity of even Catwoman. Because we saw in an instance how she would turn on Batman. We saw in the movie where she was like, man, you know what? F this and fuck you, and go off. I was like, okay, if it was full blown head over, hey, come with me, but I would have been like, all right, get the fuck out of here. You know, like, and it's cool, right? But Batman played it in a nonchalant way, I feel like personally. I feel like when she was talking, that's why he didn't have to say shit. Like, he was just like, lady, you already know how I get down. I literally just got shot.
It just felt like Michelle Pfeiffer and Michael Keaton forced unnecessary romances so you can have one in the movie. It didn't help the plot. It didn't move anything forward for me. And it felt like it was just something they had to throw in there. They felt like they had to throw in there. It didn't feel like it was a part of the story. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I mean, it might be setting the bait for later.
Yeah.
I mean, this is huge canon that everybody's got an opinion on Batman and Catwoman.
See, Miss J.
One of the most expensive Jim Lee pieces to date.
Oh yeah, we know.
They finally kiss. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
I felt like it was that mixed with the fact that they were just like, look, we're not out here like on some actually malicious
here's
shit,
the thing.
know?
They had time. It's a 3-hour movie.
Mm-hmm.
They had time to develop this. Like, it's not like we were running short on time. It's not like it's an hour and 30 minutes. This is a 3-hour movie. If anyone says that the relationship feels rushed, it's because it was probably an afterthought.
Okay, well, I don't know, Tech. This is the second time you didn't feel the love between, Rachel Palmer and Doctor Strange, and now you don't.
No, I mean not if you look at the scenes they give us. No, and it felt like What If, because I still remember why you're saying this.
I know.
Like, What If was so far left from that they just kind of just ushered in this whole plot line that they were together at one point.
Well, I bet you when you see Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, you're gonna see some more about that. I bet you're gonna see it.
Oh, 100%, 1,000%.
All right, so let me just say, I'm glad. See, that's how I know we're cool, because we can poke fun at each other. I love that.
Absolutely.
So the worst thing about the movie for me, right? And I don't know how many people are gonna agree, but I'm fucking tired of seeing the Joker. Why is the Joker in the movie? Why is the Joker here? I don't want
without Joker.
Bro, like
no.
I disagree. I disagree. Like, I think that Paul Dano Riddler literally could have held up that movie by himself. He did still, even with the little tease of this random dude in the. He still held that role magically.
This movie didn't have Joker in it.
Yeah, I mean it is.
But it didn't. Come on. That doesn't count.
But it does count though, because like I see a face and like
you know who it is.
So we know what's coming.
You know, but
we didn't need that.
We didn't need it. We didn't need it.
Maybe, but I wouldn't say that he was in the movie. That's a stretch.
So you don't think
So Barry Keoghan didn't play the Joker in this movie.
He had a 45-second scene, and that means he's in the movie. Come on.
He was, first of all, he got an IMDb credit for it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was a purposeful thing. Like, he's definitely in the movie. Like, is he the star of the movie? No, but he's featured in the movie.
Right.
He's a part of the movie, and he shouldn't be.
Eric the Viking. To be fair, he's barely in it. And look, but he's barely there playing the Joker. The Joker is already in the Batman universe. There's no mystery to it. Like, if they come back and they say, well, the Batman 2 is coming or the Batman 3 is coming, you know for damn sure that we're going to see this Joker, which is not a bad thing. But however, how soon they, show us this new Joker, that's my question. Like, I all want
to see. I heard a lot of cry out there for Mr. Freeze. I'd love to see a 2023 version of Mr. Freeze. Like, what the fuck does that even mean?
What the fuck does that even look like? Like, well, how are you gonna do that in this movie? Like,
Clayface.
Right, you bring back Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Damn, you know what? I would actually be 100% okay with that. I would be so okay. I don't even know why I would be okay with that, but I feel like he's old enough now, and he has the acting chops enough to be missed. That would actually be godlike. Oh. Oh my god, I sound crazy as hell, but I'm down. Oh my god.
Yeah, this world is prime for Scarecrow. People are talking
about Clayface. Yeah.
Of course, and then the mentioned in this movie was the word Hush, which is a huge series.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Where his best childhood friend cuts off people's faces and recreates Bruce Wayne and takes his life. Takes his identity. So There's a lot going on, and I feel you. We don't need Joker.
Yeah, we don't.
Eventually, we will.
What was that first? Wait, you said what was that first word you said? Started with an E. And eventually, I'm okay with eventually. I'm all right with that eventually. Give me the eventually. I just don't want it right out of the gate. Don't give me your first. But I know why they did it. And once again, like, it's not one of those things where I'm like, oh my God, please no. It's more like you didn't need to do it. Like,
it's DC, so I'm scared that they're gonna go down the line and eventually they're gonna be like, nah, Barry Keoghan's not Joker, and then what?
See, and then I'm gonna be tight that they changed it, that they didn't stick to their guns. And still watch it.
They don't have a good track. They don't have a good track record.
They really don't.
Guns.
They really don't. I will say another thing about this movie as a whole, and just to the larger DCEU playoff play two. One of the things that I realized after watching this Batman movie, and it came full circle, is it's really hard to incorporate Batman as a character into a universe. No matter which take you take on it, outside of Zack Snyder, that's one thing I had to give another +1 to Zack Snyder. Think about how hard it would be if we wanted like a world or a larger DCEU world at large, right? And this is just the afterthought that I put on here because obviously I don't feel like this fits in with anything that they've done recently. Like, I would be hard pressed to think that they're going to introduce anybody outside the DC lore. That's specific to Batman in this universe. And I look back at what Zack Snyder did, and I don't think it's another way to incorporate Batman. He's so unique. He's such a niche character, and he could be portrayed so many ways. I'm not going to say it's impossible, but it is really difficult to do something like that. So I just wanted to say, man, shout out to Zack Snyder for actually giving us that, because I don't know if we're ever even going to be able to see some shit like that again, and I for damn sure don't think it's going to happen with Robert Pattinson Batman, but...
No.
But anyway,
I think Snyder ultimately, if you look at, I was thinking about this the other day. If you look at the casting that he did, that whole team did, it was really out of the park casting.
Yeah.
For that time, because no matter what, Cavill's still Superman to me, Godot still Wonder Woman, Momoa was Aquaman. Like it was really good casting.
Yeah.
And you're right, we're probably not going to be able to see this again, especially in this universe. And I think that's where their strength is if they keep it small and they keep it pocket and we introduce the characters that Batman knows, but we kind of keep it at that. I think you'll have better longevity, a better chance of success down the line with their movies. Don't try to build a universe. Give us these little pocket universes. Because I know they're working on Joker 2. I don't want that to have anything to do with this.
Yeah. No. I hear you. And I'm okay with having like all these standalone characters. I got a lot of love for them regardless. So that means, are you telling me that you're cool with the every 5 year we get a reboot, we get a new person playing Batman, we get like
give us trilogies. You're not gonna do a 10 movie Batman series. It's not gonna happen. I don't want to see the Fast and the Furious version of Batman. Yeah. But let me enjoy this as it happens. If you guys come up with a great number 2 or number 3 movie, I'm fine with that. But it probably shouldn't last longer than that, and we probably can do fresh takes going forward. You know what I mean? You can even take time in between and do a middle-aged Batman. We can do that and just explore that. We can start getting to some of these other characters, the Nightwings, the Red Hoods.
Yeah,
let's do that.
It's about time. It's about time.
Let's bounce off of Batman.
Give me a Nightwing, bro.
Family. Give me the Bat Family.
Look, I ain't talking about the whole Bat Family, bro. I'm not trying to go all the way down the line. I'm one of those guys. I don't need. I don't want. And then this is as my comic book take is that like I don't want like fucking a family of bats gliding through there. Hey Gotham, look, it's just fucking Batman, Batwoman, Batgirl, Robin 2, Nightwings, and like I think that shit's lame. But like I do think that there is a space to have that kind of. I mean, Spider-Man. I feel like Spider-Man does it quite well, right? As much as I don't want to say it, like there's a Spidey family, right? But no, I think there's a way to do it. But I will say, the Batman, Lucius Fox Batman, that's actually like I guess it's canon in the comics now, where Batman is in New York and is played by Lucius Fox's son. And this goes back to what Ben was saying. He actually has his face covered, and I think that's the better look. Like once I saw it, I was like, "Yo, this actually should have been how Batman always looked." And then he recently has it now to where you can see the bottom of his face. But like I felt like it gives such a sleeker, cooler look, and it gives validation to some of the shots that we see of Batman where he's like you can only see like his eyes, right? And he has like the corner shot where you can have this squared ass jaw. And I feel like that kind of plays into it. But that's just me getting into my creative visual side of it. But you know, I like it, and then this goes back to what Ben was saying on it. But anyways, with that being said, gentlemen, I feel like that should conclude what we have. But before we go, unless you guys have to go instantly right now, I say that we take a question, maybe two, from the chat, like to give us like a small talking point, and then we get out of here.
Unfortunately, I have a 4 o'clock.
Okay.
But I do want to say one thing, because shout out to Ben for getting his IMDb credit. Your boy, I have 1 IMDb credit.
Hey.
And I played an extra in a Batman fan-made film by this director named Wyatt Weed.
What the fuck?
They gave me, and it ended up, there was a list that came out a few years ago of the top 10 Batman fan-made films, and it was in the top 10. And I played one of the mutant goons. So that's just a very fun fact. And it's under my Facebook name because he knew me from Facebook. He met me through Facebook. So it's under Sebastian Lee. It's not even under my real name. So
Wow.
That's a little fun fact.
That's
Damn.
your Hollywood name.
That's the Hollywood name, huh?
That's my acting name. So
well, I guess we'll save it. We'll save it for another time. With that, then, if that's the case, you guys hit us with the plug so we can get you guys to your next, dedicated things that you got to take care of. We can start with Tech.
Okay. Tech Supreme. I do a podcast with Caleb called MC Dudes, which is a new podcast. We're 4 episodes in. It's a YouTube podcast, also wherever you stream audio, and it's the MC Dudes that talk about the MCU.
Okay.
Nothing but Marvel all across the board. It's about an hour long. It's really fun to do. I enjoy it a lot. I also have my own podcast where I rant called Rent Free with Tech Supreme, which is also on YouTube and where you stream podcasts.
Yo, if you want, you should definitely link your YouTube in the chat before you leave, so you can so people can go follow the boy, listen to those talks. What about you, Mr. Sawyer? Can you please hit us with your newly IMDb'd homie out there?
So if you search Benjamin Sawyer Artist, you'll find me. I'm everywhere on the internet as Sketch Sawyer. I've been sort of radio silent these days because this project's all NDA. So I'll hot take on Twitter every now and then. But as far as me sharing art, that's you're gonna have to wait till April 21st when my first episode goes live. So.
Hey, well look, I'm fine with that, man. We come through and follow anyway. Make sure you drop. I mean, honestly, I don't talk about shit on Twitter most of the time anyway, and people still give me follows. So I'm all here for it, and I just can't wait to see the catch up anyway, man. I like that when you do come back, you post stuff like that because. Honestly, we're all adults. We're all hella busy sometimes. So I'm glad that we at least get any kind of forum to be like, oh, my boy's out here doing cool shit,
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you all. Appreciate the taste buds.
Yo, taste buds,
Always.
Make some noise for the boys real quick. And they'll be back Friday because we will be talking Moon Knight. We will get into the Moon Knight series and get back to this Marvel stuff as well. So, yo, man, real talk, man, you already know what it is. I really do appreciate y'all coming on, having a talk with the taste buds, giving your opinions, sharing your opinions, talking with us, man. And on top of that, man, congratulations on everything going well with you guys, man. I'm always a fan of the homies. I can't wait to share, see more, you know what I'm saying? And I guess I'll see you guys Friday, man.
Peace.
We'll be here.
Thank you so much.
Yo,
Peace,
be
everybody.
well. Be well.
Thanks, Steve.